for us to know what is the graph of 2 sine x plus 1, this will be easier if we based it on the original sine function table. So in this function here, what we will do is we will create same table. So x, and then we have our 2. So again, this is our y, right? In the original function, y is equals to sine x. So meaning we can replace this with y, 2y plus 1. And whatever is the value of y, that's what we will use to figure out what the new value of y is for this new function. So we will use the same value of x. So 0, at 0, y is 0. So this is 1. And at 90 degrees, we know our value of y is 1. So 2 times 1 plus 1 is equals to 3. At 180 degrees, 0. So meaning it is 1. And then at 270, right? So 270 negative 1. So negative 2 plus 1 will give us negative 1. And at 360 is 0. So that means if y is 0, that would be 1 here. And then all we need to do is to plot this in the graph. Okay, so we now have this one here. All we need is 0 is 1, right? And then at 90 degrees, so this is 90, it's 3. Okay, say that's 3. And then at 180, it's back to 1. Let's say that's 180 over here. And then at 270, it's negative 1. So let's just say this is 270 here. And that's negative 1. And then at 360, it is back to 1. So then all we need to do is to plot this graph here. There you go. There. Okay, so it's very easy. It's a very easy, strategy or method to use in order for us to graph the given function. Okay, because sometimes it's confusing, especially where if the graph is being translated, especially if it's stretched or being stretched horizontally or compressed horizontally. That's where the confusion, or it will be a little bit difficult to figure out the graph of the function. Okay, let's do another example here, this time for cosine. Okay, so for cosine, okay, let's just create the graph first for the table for cosine. So when y is equals to cosine of x, the graph here, or the table here, will be when x is equals to 0, your y is equals to, of course, 1. When x is 90, this is 0. When x is 180, this is negative 1. And if it's 270, then that's 0 there. And if it's 360, then that is 1. Okay, so for example, we are asked to graph y is equals to negative 1.5 cosine of 3, and then we have x minus 30 degrees plus 0.5. Okay, now here we have an amplitude or a vertical stretch by a factor of 1.5, this one here, right? And then we have it's also vertical, it's reflected vertically because of the negative sign. We also have our k here, right? This one is our, where k, the horizontal compression by a factor of 1 over 3, or x over 3. And then we have here the phase shift 30 degrees, and it's negative, so x minus 30, so that would be to the right, phase shift to the right, because it is x plus 30. And then we have 0.5 here, which is a vertical shift. So we will then now create the other table. So in creating the other table for this function, we still have our x, this is our y, and our y will be this whole thing here. So it will be negative 1.5 cosine 3x minus 30 plus 0.5. Okay, so for x, okay, remember we have here our k, This will be a scale factor of x over 3. Okay, so this is now x over 3 plus 30, right? X over 3 plus 30. That's this part here for x. So when x is equals to 0, 0 over 3, that's 0 plus 30. So this is 30 here. And then our y, when y is equals to 1, what is y value when we have, oh, by the way, this is going to be negative 1.5y, negative 1.5y plus 0.5. So everything that's vertical, 0.5 here. Sorry, that's negative 1.5, negative 1.5 plus 0.5. Okay, negative 1.5y, sorry, this is y plus 0.5. So when x is equals to 0, your x here becomes 30. X 0 over 3 plus 30, that's 30. And then when y is equals to 1, negative 1.5 times 1 plus 0.5 will give you an answer of negative 1. And then when x is equals to 90, 90 divided by 3 will give you 30, right? And then plus 30 here. So that's why this is 60. And when y is equals to 0, negative 1.5 times 0, this is 0.5. Okay? And if it is 90, 90 divided by, when x is 180, divide by 3 will give you now 60 plus 30 will give you 90. And if it's negative 1, negative 1 times 1, negative 1.5 plus 0.5 here will give you 2. And when x is equals to 270 plus 30, this will give you 120. And when if it's 0, then this is 0.5. And when x is 360, 360 divided by 3 plus 30 will give you 150. And your y is 1. So negative 1.5 times 1 plus 0.5 will give you negative 1. Now we can now sketch the graph. And that is, okay, all we need to do is plot the values here, right? So we have x is equals to 30. So this is 30 here. It's negative 1. Let's say this is negative 1. If it is 60, it is 0.5. So let's say 0.5 here. If it's 90, it's 2. So let's say 2 here. If it's 120, this is 0.5. And if it is 150, this is negative 1. Say here. And then all we need to do is, of course, to plot this one here. There you go. And the same thing, all we need is to just to put arrow there. If we want to know the y-intercept, so we know where to cross here, all we need is to set x to 0. So if it's 0 here, use your calculator and that will give you, I think, the 0.5, right? 0.5 as your y-intercept. And so that one will be here. Okay, and that will continue again. That sorry, that's too high. That will be here. Okay, this should be the same amplitude there. Okay, so again, the amplitude here is 1.5. So amplitude, this is our amplitude. Period is 360 divided by the absolute value of k, which is 3, and that gives us 120. And the number of cycles would be from 0 to 360 is going to be 3, right? Because we divide it by 3. Because k here is equals to 3. So that represents the number of cycles from 0 to 360.